Hey guys, what's up? It's Gundy with Best Bet Trades. In this video, I want to go over how to identify a break of structure in the market on the 5-minute time period. This is on SPX, ES, even NQ, and any stock, anything really. As you know, the last video, if you didn't see how to mark out liquidity, check that out. That's in the playlist, the last video I posted. Obviously, these were yesterday's lows, Asian lows, Asian highs, London lows. So this is the trade that we made in the Discord today. Obviously, right here, there was liquidity. It was swept and went up. It got rejected at this liquidity box. It didn't actually go into it. So it came back down. The market opened right around here. Once I seen that it had a break of structure, you see how this candle closed right here? See, that's a break of structure. See, look to the left. See how flat it was? Even though it wicked it, it has to close below it. So obviously the structure is up. Even though it came down here, the structure is up. You mark out the liquidity. Once we seen this, once I seen it close right here, I entered right around here, me in the Discord somewhere, and we wrote it down to the next liquidity below. So it had a breaker structure, one candle pullback, which is like double tops right here. I knew if it goes above the high of day, that obviously I was wrong. So I sized in right here, went down when we called it for a 10-point move, $10 move, and that was pretty much my trade for the day. And as you can see, so obviously breaker structure, this candle right here, obviously we went from bullish to bearish, so obviously that's bullish. Even though we were sideways, we were still bullish because we never had a breaker structure. Look at the wick right here. See how it keeps bouncing, the lows bouncing. Once we had that breaker structure, the candle has to close. You could see a wicket, for example, but the candle has to close for it to be valid. It could wick the breaker structure all it wants, but if it doesn't close below it, it's not a breaker structure. So as you can see, today was a wild day in the market. We caught this little move right here. I was done. I did my trade. That was pretty much it. But as you could see, we had breaker structure, and then it went down, swept this liquidity right here, which was Asian lows. Right, and it had a pump up. See how it had to pump up? Most people would think, oh, it's going to keep going up. But for me, it has to have a breaker structure to the upside. So the breaker structure to the upside is a candle would have to close or above this liquidity box. Now, not always will there be liquidity boxes, but to help with the breaker structure. But you could see pretty much where it's flat. See how it came up, kind of tested the liquidity, and then died and went right to the liquidity below, and then did the same thing. So obviously, a breaker structure for me would be a close, not a wick, a close at least above these candles right here. Okay, which would be above the liquidity box as well. Yes, the liquidity was swept, but I just keep dragging it over for the day. At the end of the day, I'll delete the ones that have been ran through. But as I go over this, you'll see came up, pretty much tested the breaker structure. If it closes above this candle, this wick right here, it's pretty much a breaker structure. Most people would say over here, everybody's different. For me, if it closed above this candle right here, and that would be above the liquidity box, that would be a breaker structure for me. So I know I'm still bearish, even though you have the pullback, right? So it's pretty much just stair stepping down. Same thing. If it closes above here, see how it came back and grabbed the liquidity from yesterday's lows, the US session, grabbed it, bounced. Don't go long, wait for the breaker structure. Because even though we have a bounce here, it doesn't mean that you're going bullish now. Okay? Market was crazy, it rebounded, but we'll go over that. So obviously, where's breaker structure? It had a liquidity sweep right here, and it's going up to have a breaker. Where's the breaker structure? Obviously, it's above this fair value gap that it created too. Okay, so you got to look at the fair value gaps too. It came and filled the fair value gap, and then just died. Obviously, not making a breaker structure. So if you were bullish here, you got caught. Unless you obviously got in here and locked in profits here, that's a whole nother story. But obviously the trend continues. So you can even draw a trend line. It was pretty much textbook today, but this is just a good example. Same thing here. So it came up, no breaker structure, came down, boom. Came down, right? It rebounded again. We're still bearish. Even though it's coming up, it never, look, where's the breaker structure? See how it left this fair value gap right here? Came and filled it, and then died. But obviously, if it would have closed above these candles, and I would have been bullish then because it was a breaker structure to the upside. Here's an example of a breaker structure. So obviously, where's the breaker structure? I mean, obviously a breaker structure would be like right over here, you know, for me, right around here. A candle closed above it and see how it just kept ripping. Obviously, not every day it's gonna rip. It could go up and then come back down. As long as it doesn't make a lower low, and that's where you would put your stop as the low, the low, or the fair value gap once it fills it. So that was a crazy run up here at the end of the day. A lot of times that doesn't happen, but that's just an example. So obviously, breaker structure right here, closed above it, boom. Even here, even if you put the breaker structure here, it closes right above it, boom, just a little bit, and then that's when you can tell the market structure shift. Some people call it that. I call it a breaker structure. It's all really the same thing. Like I said, mark out your liquidities, and as you can see, this just kept hitting liquidity, having a small rejection, taking the next leg down. This is a liquidity from a long time ago that's never been swept. As you can see, it came down, bounced here, and then since all these liquidities were pretty much taken out, where's the next liquidity? It's really up here at London High. So, as you can see, the London High hasn't been swept. So that's still valid. So tomorrow we should have a good range. Honestly, since we had a break, this should go up to the London High. And once you start marking out your liquidity, you'll understand and you'll see that it pretty much goes from liquidity to liquidity. See, liquidity came down. Even though it had a pullback, it went to where? This liquidity, but never closed in the box. See, same thing. Came back down. Back to this liquidity. Took out this liquidity. Came back up. Didn't close in the box. See, it's just that's so right now we're bullish. And a breaker structure for me would be probably right around here now. Right around where it was. So this could come back down, even wick it, and come back up and then go up. So once you guys realize that, it's going to take some time. Sometimes it's a lot harder to identify on choppy days and stuff like that. But always remember to just zoom out. Look to the left. So obviously, this was yesterday's. This was yesterday's high and the low. There's obviously still liquidity up here from yesterday's that's never been swept. You see. So this could take out this liquidity and then go up to here as well. Or it could come back down here and go all the way back down. And then you mark out your, so this was yesterday's low, Asian, London. It's just really too simple. Once you guys start mapping it out, you'll see it. Okay, here's the low from yesterday. Here's the low, because you obviously have to wait for the session to close and know if it's the low. Does that make sense? So obviously here's the low. You go to the 30-minute time period. Like I said, check out the other videos in the playlist. I just put out a video on how to mark out liquidity. So here's the low. Here's the high. Here's the high of, see the session changes. So from Asian to London, it was still up there in this session. So from here, that's the high, that's the low. So you just mark out the highs and the lows, guys, and you'll see it respect these levels crazy. Now, I do leave these levels on till the end of the day. So tomorrow, I'm done trading. I don't trade at night. But we do have night traders. Check out the link below. Scav, he does night trading live. It's totally free, 100% free. They have voice. Chuckles is on there calling out levels on NQ and ES. It's totally free. Hit the link below. So, check that out, guys. It's totally free. There ain't no payments, no nothing. You get to go right in there. Just hit the night trading part, and it's 100% free. Check it out. It's a good way to make some extra money in the evening. But at the end of the day, I'll remove the ones that's been ran through. So, like this one will be removed, this one will be removed, this one will be removed, because obviously this session will close by tomorrow morning. So, that's pretty much how I do it, guys. Also, if you guys join the Discord, I call out these trades live on the voice channel. You guys get free custom indicators, and I just want to show you what the indicators look like. So, boom, boom. I know it's a little messy, but as you can see the trend was down. On a 15-minute, you could see, look how beautiful it was. So, once you get the sell on the 15, it's just trending down. Buy. So I use them as extra confirmation on top of the liquidity sweep and breaker structure, pullback. Because usually after breaker structure to the upside, I like to see a pullback to fill like the fair value gap and make a higher low for the next leg up. Sometimes there's two different scenarios, and I'll teach you guys this if you guys join the Discord. There's the link below. Check us out. I'll teach you these things, what I actually look for, what's an A1 setup, what's not, blah, blah, blah. And I'll talk through the trades as we go through them. So I'll let the Discord know, and then I'll let them know when I'm entering, and I'll also let them know when I take my profits. Sometimes I take profits too early. It's just the way, just the way it is. Um, you can never catch the whole move. Sometimes I scale out and leave a couple runners. Sometimes I don't. It just depends how I feel. Like I said, I wasn't sure since this morning. As you could see, we bounced up here and like almost with the bottom of the liquidity box from London High, but it kind of rejected that. So I wasn't sure if we were going to sweep this liquidity here because we had a sweep, obviously sweep, and then boom, So I know a lot of people look for like big wicks for the sweeps. A sweep is a sweep. If it goes through it, it takes the liquidity. I mean, in my opinion, I just been watching it for months and months and months, so I kind of just know what it's gonna do. Not exactly, obviously, everything is risk to reward. If your risk to reward is good, then that's really all that matters. You can have a low percentage win rate, and if your risk to reward is good, and still be profitable. So as like I said, I took my profits right around here. So did the Discord, the rest of the Discord, and I was just done for the day. So if you guys want to learn, check us out. Link below. Um, and I'll help you guys throughout the way, one-on-one mentorship. Hope to see you guys there. Have a good one.